25 years, it's almost unbelievable, you know. We are silver. I hope my silver isn't showing. It's a memory which I can't believe is as long as that. I remember Gitika and Sumit. They came to our office at Deloitte and we had a meeting. They told us all about what TiE was about and how it was being brought to here to India. It was Delhi in those days. The NCR got added later. And she talked about what they were planning to do and how we were going to be supporting. I like the way I say we. It's actually what she told us about. Both of them talked about how it was intended to support entrepreneurship, which was just in its infancy. I mean, we have a great startup approach in India. Everybody does a startup, you know. These are words which came up later, entrepreneur, startup. But anybody would set up a little business. It was no big deal. Along the road, you would see businesses, you know. But they came and talked about how they were formalizing it, how now they intended to create an ecosystem which would be in support of entrepreneurs, whether it was in terms of mentoring, bringing entrepreneurs together, some learning one from the other, or for, you know, getting potentially investors to come in and talk to entrepreneurs on those wanting to raise funds, how they could do it. And they talked about how they needed to have people with experience and to come and help create this system and actually be of help to entrepreneurs. So after both of them left, Atul, who's also on your board, Atul Dhawan, and was my boss then, he and I had a chat about it, and we said that yeah, we should give back something to, you know, the community. We don't know very many things. I mean, after all, we provide consulting for services, professional services. We do audit and assurance. So how is it that we can give back to our community? So we decided that we would take part, you know, and we would become mentors. We would help other entrepreneurs. And boy, what a journey it has been over 25 years. Some of the initiatives that really stand out in my mind, I have a memory, and this I have to tell you. I did a session on how to look at valuation for those who were looking at raising capital. I did a session. It was probably a 2 or a 3 hour session. And I remember Saurabh Srivastava, please, he actually took notes of what I was saying in terms of, you know, how to do a valuation. I tried to make it as simple, you know, as possible for the entrepreneurs to be able to appreciate it. That's one thing really stands out. And it was the most, I must say, most humble moment for me. And saying, I said, sir, I'll do a separate session altogether. I'll have a chat. He says, no, I have taken notes. And he actually showed me a piece of paper, you know. Then the other one which stands out, which was sold to, shall we say, completely sold out houses, was our business planning workshops, which we used to run overnight, which was, I think, an unusual program in those days, where we would go to somewhere outside Delhi. We went to the JP golf course. We've done it in a number of places, beautiful places, and we would have a cohort. I would insist that our cohort can't be more than 30 people. And it used to be a paid cohort, and I used to have a line of people wanting to get in, and I used to say, no, we can't have more people. So we used to do this, where we used to, on the day one, talk about, you know, what one needs to do in preparation of raising capital, how one needs to put together one's document, what are the various things, the checklist of things you need to think through. And we used to give examples and, you know, run these workshops. Overnight, there'd be these often 25 to 50-year-old people, in the beginning only men, later on women joined us too, who would, you know, actually sit like college students till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because we would give them a business case which they needed to then present the next day in front of some of the investors we would invite. And of course, in those days, there wasn't funding provided. So we didn't have TiE the Knot, for example. Real funding is what TiE the Knot was about. But we would get a big, huge cake. And that was the winning team would be, you know, get to cut the cake and pose. And it did give them face. It did give them, of course, experience and expertise in putting their thoughts together and making a comprehensive plan about their business, which they could well present to potential investors. And also it gave them face with some of the investors. Then, of course, TiE the Knot has been something really close to my heart. I often tell people now, when they say, oh, do you know Shark Tank? I said, I do know Shark Tank, but the precursor, which is about identifying companies which have potential, getting a panel of investors, potential investors together, and then putting them in front and getting them to present and actually having, companies funded was something that, I mean, it's something I really enjoyed. I guess it's very close to what I've done as well. But I think it's an iconic asset that we've created over the years. I do believe that it's good to be differentiated the way we are. We are, not only do we identify companies which have potential, but I think the way we approach it, the way we mentor the companies, the way we encourage them to present themselves better, to think about alternative business models which we believe may work, or to identify where they could address areas. And that input, I think, has been more valuable. So many of those companies which have got funded, they have remained in touch with me, and they reach out to me as and when they have a need to talk. And it's just that I met them for the first time maybe 10 years ago, and they have remained in touch. So fast forwarding to the more recent years, I must talk about the evolution that TiE has seen as an organization. It was very focused earlier just to be able to create, and I shouldn't use the word just actually, because it was a huge task to actually have an ecosystem with the various stakeholders involved, so that they could help and support each other. I remember in the earlier days when you interacted with the administration, it was mostly people who had done debt, which would talk about equity investment, early stage. Later stage का तो बात ही नहीं था खैर, but early stage also, and they really didn't get it, that there's a risk return hypothesis associated with equity. So from then to now, where we are, I guess, far more sophisticated. I love the use of the various new tools and technology which you see at our event. I'll be honest, I've been at Deloitte for so long, but there's some things I just see and learn for the first time at TiE events, for example. So it's amazing to see how we are keeping track, we are keeping up with what's happening the latest. I don't know whether I'll be around 25 years later, but until I am, I look forward to seeing what happens at TiE and how we continue to be more and more meaningful for entrepreneurs, for investors, and for other members of the stakeholders.